Chapter 1. The Skull. Before anyone had a skull, a code name, or a theory, Iris Vance had exits. In a private terminal in Lima, she counted every one before she trusted any door. She was 12 years old, and adults kept mistaking small for helpless. The transfer corridor had no windows, no clock, no weather, just lemon cleaner, floor wax, rain on concrete somewhere beyond the walls, and fluorescent lights that flickered often enough to become a kind of counting. Ceiling panels, 42. Security cameras, 6. Doors worth remembering, 3. Counting made the room hold still. Iris needed the room to hold still. The man with the badge walked half a step behind her and kept almost touching her shoulder. Almost was worse than touch. Touch gave her something to pull away from. Almost made her body wait.
"Your father is waiting at the van,"
he said. Iris looked down at her shoes. One lace had been tied by the nurse in Houston, too tight and double-knotted. The other had worked loose during the second flight, the one through Mexico City. Her shoes used to be blue before too many hospital floors made them gray at the edges. In her sweatshirt pocket, the airplane crackers had broken into 2 whole pieces and 1 corner of dust. She kept touching the packet through the fabric, not because she was hungry, though she was, but because saved food made later feel more likely. After the worst Houston scan, her father had promised real pancakes later, and then bought her something flat, warm, and suspicious from the hospital cafe. Iris had eaten it anyway, because later had arrived.
"Car,"
Iris said. The man with the badge paused.
"What?"
"My dad says car."
His smile arrived too fast.
"Of course, the car."
That was the second lie. The first had been almost there. The corridor hummed under her feet, lower than the lights, lower than the air conditioner, lower than the tired metal cough of vents in the ceiling. A note with no mouth. It moved into her teeth, then into the long bones of her arms, then behind the raw place where someone had yanked the sensor free. Far away, under a desert she had never seen, something answered. The man with the badge moved his hand nearer to her shoulder.
"Iris?"
He should not have known her name in that voice. It was too soft, too practiced, like someone had listened to a recording of kindness and copied the pauses. She stopped beside a yellow mop bucket.
"My shoe,"
Iris said.
"It can wait."
Waiting made hallways worse. The staff door at the end opened. A man in airport coveralls stepped through with a cracked tablet in one hand. He looked at Iris, then at the badge, then away before his face could decide what to show. Afraid, but not of her. That mattered. At the loading bay beyond him, rain blew under the roof. A white van waited with its back doors open. 2 men stood beside it. One held a phone. One unfolded a gray blanket. Gray. Iris pulled the loose shoelace free. For half a second, everyone looked at the lace instead of at her. She ran. Her bad shoe slapped wrong against the floor. Someone shouted her name. The man in coveralls shouted something in Spanish that sounded angry, official, and boring enough to be believed. Iris dropped to her hands and knees between 2 baggage carts. Wet pavement scraped her palms. Her sweatshirt caught on a metal hook and tore. She kept crawling, because small was only bad when adults had you cornered. A cartwheel caught her loose lace and yanked her shoe half off. Iris bit the inside of her cheek instead of crying out. The pain made a clean white point in her head. She used it. She pulled the shoe free, shoved it back on with one hand, and kept moving. Above her, the airport kept pretending it was ordinary. Tires squeaked. A woman laughed into a phone. Somewhere a baby wailed with the pure outrage of someone still allowed to be loud. Iris was not allowed to be loud. She went under, a man said in English. Another voice answered in Spanish, quick and frightened. Not angry. Frightened made Iris look. Through the crossed legs of a baggage cart, she saw a man in blue coveralls crouch beside the service lane. He was young, with rain on his eyelashes and a radio clipped to his belt. He did not reach for her. He looked past her first, toward the two men with the folded gray blanket. Then he looked back at Iris. She put one finger to her lips. The man swallowed. His hand moved toward his radio, stopped, and closed around the strap of an empty luggage cart instead. He rolled it sideways, slow enough to look accidental, until it blocked the straight line between the blanket men and the place where Iris had been.
Niña, salida,
he whispered. Exit. He pointed with his chin. Iris had never liked being rescued by people she did not know. Rescue was one of the words adults used when they wanted you to stop asking who had decided. But the man did not say safe. He did not say, trust me. He gave her a direction and took his hand away. That made him better than most. She crawled where he had pointed. The concrete changed under her palms from smooth to rough. A strip of cold rain touched her wrist where the loading bay opened to the night. She could smell diesel, wet cardboard, and the sharp lemon cleaner airport people use to make fear smell official. A black van idled beyond the cones. No. Iris stopped so fast her knees burned. The men behind her were arguing now. One of them said her name the way a person says a password.
Iris Vance.
She did not turn. Her father's rule came back in his tired conference call voice. Car, not van. Public doors. Count hands. She counted. 2 blanket men, 1 coveralls man who had helped, 1 woman in a navy coat stepping from behind the van. The woman had a hospital badge and a face that had been arranged into kindness too carefully.
Iris,
The woman said.
your father wants you safe.
Call him.
The woman's smile did not vanish. That was how Iris knew she had asked the right question.
We will call him from the clinic.
No.
Iris said. The coveralls man stared at the wet ground. The woman took 1 step closer.
Sweetheart, you are cold.
I'm not your sweetheart.
No one is going to hurt you.
That was another bad sentence. People who were not going to hurt you talked about coats, elevators, phone calls. They did not talk about hurt before you did. Iris backed away from the van until the metal edge of the loading gate pressed between her shoulder blades. There was nowhere else to crawl. A siren rose somewhere beyond the airport fence and passed without stopping. The woman held out 1 hand.
We can do this kindly.
Car.
Iris said. One of the blanket men muttered something Iris could not hear.
Car.
Iris said again. Her voice shook this time, and she hated that, but she let it shake because grown people sometimes listen to fear before they listen to words.
Not van.
For a moment, no one moved. Then the woman looked toward the men, angry now in a way she tried to hide.
Get a car.
It was not a victory. Iris knew the difference. A lie could change shape and remain a lie, but she had made it change shape. When the gray blanket came open, she stepped back before it touched her.
I can walk.
Iris said. No one liked that, so she said it again.
I can walk.
They gave her a black sedan because she had made the van expensive. The car smelled like leather, old coffee, and a kind of air freshener that tried too hard. Iris sat in the back seat with her hands visible on her knees. She did not buckle until the woman in the navy coat stopped reaching across her to do it.
I can do that.
Iris said. The woman took her hand back. The seatbelt clicked. 1 small sound. 1 choice Iris had kept. Rain crawled down the window and turned the terminal lights into long, shaking lines. In the glass, Iris could see the shape adults tried not to stare at unless they were doctors, researchers, or mean without wanting to be caught. Her head was longer at the back than other children's heads. Not wrong. She hated that word. Not pretty either, if pretty meant invisible. Her hair fell dark around the shape and made it softer until she turned too quickly or someone stood behind her and forgot to hide their face. When she was little, a boy at the clinic had asked if she had been born with extra thoughts. Iris had told him yes. Her father had laughed then. Later, he stopped laughing and said things like baseline, exposure, sensitivity, and just a little longer. Adults liked little longer because it never had to admit it meant again. The navy-coated woman sat in front and spoke softly into a phone.
Transfer contained. Switching ground plan. Yes, by car.
Contained. Iris pressed one fingernail into the packet of crackers through her sweatshirt pocket. 2 whole pieces and 1 corner of dust. The packet crinkled, and the sound made the woman glance back.
Are you hungry?
Iris did not answer.
We can get you something at the plane.
Plane. Her stomach went cold. Outside, the sedan passed the place where the van had waited. The gray blanket was gone. The coveralls man stood under the loading roof with both hands in his pockets, looking at the ground as if the rain had written something there and he was trying to read it. For 1 second, Iris wished she knew his name. Then the car turned and he vanished behind the terminal wall. The hum returned under the road. Not airport noise, not tires. Lower, older. It pressed at the long place in her skull and made her teeth ache. Far away, a desert answered with a room she had never entered, and a hunger that did not feel like hunger until it noticed her noticing it. She had heard the note when she was small, before the scans, before the wires, before the words baseline and sensitivity and just a little longer. She had heard it in the basement of her grandmother's house, where the water heater hummed against old stone, and her grandmother had told her the stones were singing because the stones always sang, and only some people remembered how to listen. Her grandmother had taught her one prayer for when the singing got too loud. Just one. Jesus, this is for you, not for me. You did not need fancy words, her grandmother said. You needed to know whose song it was. Iris had remembered. Then the doctors had come and told her the singing was something else. Iris shut her eyes. No. The word did not make the hum stop. It did make the hum wait. When she opened her eyes, the runway lights were ahead of them, white and blue in the rain. A cargo plane sat beyond the fence with its nose tilted up, as if it were sniffing the weather. The woman in the front seat said,
This will be easy if you cooperate.
Iris looked at the plane, then at the woman's eyes in the rearview mirror.
Easy for who?
The woman had no answer ready. That was good. Iris held on to that all the way to the gate. She did not cry. Tears made adults kinder for a minute, and more certain afterward. They wrote tears down as symptom, fatigue, poor regulation. No one ever wrote down the simpler thing. A person had been frightened and did not want to be carried somewhere by people who kept changing the name of the cage. She did not know Dr. Lena Ariston's name yet. Lena did not know hers. By the time Iris was being driven toward the cargo plane, the storm had swallowed Austin whole. Rain hammered the glass wall of Dr. Lena Ariston's genomics lab until the city blurred into water and light. Emergency alerts pulsed in the corner of her screen. She ignored them, the cold coffee at her elbow, and the phone she had turned face down an hour earlier. Her world had narrowed to one progress bar. Ancient DNA, run 4, base calling, 97%, 98%, 99%.
Come on.
she whispered. Her mouth almost shaped a word she had not used since her father died. She caught it before it became a sentence. The skull waited in the locked cabinet behind her, wrapped in foam and museum tags, elongated enough to make every photograph look fraudulent, and too carefully marked to dismiss. Tessa Navarre had sent only one private sentence beneath the shipping form. If anyone asks for it by number before your lab reports it, they knew before anyone clean should know. 2 floors beneath Lena, the Ariston repository sat under her custodial signature, a legacy collection she had inherited with the directorship, full of drawers nobody had warned her to fear. The computer chimed. Run complete. Warning, confidence thresholds exceeded. Lena opened the alignment view. Run 4 was the spite run. Extra controls, fresh reagents, no shortcuts. It should have cleaned the sample, or killed it. Instead, the numbers stared back. Modern human alignment, 68%. Neanderthal, 4%. Denisovan, 1.2%. Unknown hominin cluster, 26.3%. 26% was not a wrinkle. In one skull, in one person, it meant a quarter of the story had arrived with no name in any reference panel she trusted.
That's not contamination,
she said. Unknown was only honest if it stayed humble. Unknown was not permission to crown a theory, sell a miracle, or pretend the dead had volunteered for someone else's proof. The lab door creaked behind her. Lena spun, knee striking the desk.
Matt, you nearly stopped my heart.
Dr. Matt Lee stood in the doorway with rain in his hair and a black audio bag over one shoulder.
I texted, finished Priya's recommendation letter, grabbed my gear for tomorrow's graduate party, and the East Wing freezers were throwing a 60 hertz whine again. I brought the pocket spectrum meter.
Matt looked from her face to the monitors. His joking expression thinned.
That bad?
Interesting.
Nobody else heard that.
Childhood ear tube trauma finally pays rent.
Despite herself, Lena almost smiled. Then she turned the monitor toward him.
Run 4, Peru skull. Look at the admixture panel.
Matt leaned over her shoulder.
26% in the ghost bin.
26.3.
Across a population, maybe not fatal to the math. One skull does not get population math.
Pipeline error?
I wanted that answer too.
Matt scrolled through the alignment while the storm growled beyond the glass.
The reads hold,
he said.
Yes.
Then freeze the chain before somebody turns this into proof of whatever they already believe.
At the top of the alignment window, the file name read Peru Skull 01. Beneath it, highlighted in amber, sat metadata she had not entered. Source site, Paracas. Object ID, NEP001. Lena stared.
The manifest doesn't list this,
she said.
Maybe Tessa updated the catalog.
No.
NEP could be Neolithic Peru.
It is late pre-ceramic, and no curator I know uses a 3-letter code without attaching a 12-page justification.
NEP. The letters scraped at a half-buried memory from an undergraduate religion course she had taken to prove her mother wrong. Lena had wanted proof faith would not survive questions. The proof had been less conclusive than she admitted. Matt read her face.
You recognize it.
I recognize the shape of a bad idea.
She opened the access log. The sample metadata had no visible editor, no user stamp, no institutional trail. Matt stopped joking.
Encrypt the raw reads,
he said.
Not the processed files, the raw reads.
Already doing it.
And call Tessa before you sleep.
Who said I was sleeping?
You were shaking when you texted.
Lightning strobed against the glass. For an instant, the lab turned white. Benches, racks, monitors, Lena's reflection layered over the storm. Matt shifted the audio bag higher on his shoulder.
You want me to stay?
No.
You need a witness.
She looked at him then. Matt lifted both hands.
Fine. Quiet witness. Text me if the power dips again, if Tessa calls, or if anything changes.
He left before she could answer. When the door shut, Lena saved the run, encrypted the raw reads, and launched a secondary job to partition the ghost segments. Then a new message appeared. New message. T. Navarre. Lena opened it.
From Dr. Tessa Navarre. Subject: Urgent. Do not share Peru data. Lena, I need you to do something now. Lock down all data related to the elongated skull I sent you. Object ID should read NEP001. My fault if it did not. Do not upload to shared repositories. Do not discuss it in lab meeting. Do not let any outside foundation review the data. There has been unexpected interest, and not from museum politics or our usual academic vultures. Also, treat this as human remains first, research material second. If provenance points where I think it points, Peru and the descendant community lawyers will have claims before any foundation, lab, or journal does. If anyone contacts you asking about Paracas samples, especially if they use the word Nephilim, tell them you are still running contamination checks and forward me everything. I am probably overreacting. If I am not, you will be glad you were paranoid. Tessa.
Lena read it once, then again. Her phone chimed with a delivery receipt from Tessa's private relay. The timestamp was wrong, 4 minutes after the email. Lena stared at it while the lab lights hummed into the silence. It could be a server delay. It could be Tessa making sure a dead channel looked dead until someone needed it not to be. The storm shoved at the windows hard enough to make the frames creak. Nephilim. The word dropped through her mind like a stone into black water. Sunday school giants, blank faces, her father's Bible open beside questions she had refused to keep asking. She did not believe it. Not yet. But the wall she had built between mystery and model had cracked. She opened a browser, typed Nephilim, NEP001, Paracas, and stopped before hitting enter.
No.
Paranoia did not require stupidity. She opened the lab access control panel instead and tightened permissions on the NEP001 dataset until only 3 names remained: Lena Ariston, Matt Lee, and 1 inherited system administrator account. She tried to remove the admin account. Permission denied. Central IT override. Her mouth went dry. She tried again. Permission denied. The phone on her desk buzzed. Unknown number. She let it ring. It went to voicemail. It rang again. She let it ring again. Whoever was on the other end did not leave a message either time, which was an answer of its own. She exited the access panel and opened a blank notebook in her analysis software, local and unsynced. Local only. At the top, she typed, Project NEP001, Ghost Lineage Characterization. Then, before she could shame herself out of it, she added, Working hypothesis. Myth preserves fragmented memory of a real archaic population. Below it, because the ghost percentage would not let her look away, she typed one more line. Boundary. Unknown does not mean permission. The words looked severe. She kept them. Lena began to type.